Okay, it is 0328 0320 November 13th, 2018, Tuesday. And right now, um that is the sound of sound being projected directly into my two AI generated voices with input vocally from Army Intel officer stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord. Um, and she has software. She's a computer programmer as well. And she's currently at the north end of the base in a separate kept isolated. And she basically has top down and side views from these surveillance drones and maybe satellite feed as well from a defense satellite that which is zoomed in on my room and stuff. But basically she has top down views and you know views from lower in the sky, and it's enough to make to generate a like a 3D layout in one of the windows. And basically she just designates a target by clicking on it, and then runs AI scripting that just generate these voices that these signal drones do via antenna. They have multiple antenna on the bottom of the fuselage, and these signal drones, they are in groups of 3. There's one for me and one for my mom, dedicated to each of us, and they are higher altitude than most of the other drones, maybe about 4,000 feet or above, somewhere around there. And they're visible in the sky. And they're smaller. They're triangular formation, isosceles triangle, where one side is about half the width of the other two sides, and one for me and one for my mom. And programmers at a hangar at McChord Airfield, they control much of the movement and primarily all the weapon systems. The drone pilots manually navigate them if it's needed, but the majority of U.S. Air Force personnel in this hangar, they are software engineers, computer programmers, that sort of thing. And there's in there with the commander, Air Force commander. There may be 2, I don't know, but they take shifts. They do so in shifts, and they live off base. If there's 2, then they probably trade 12-hour shifts on and off, alternate. All the personnel doing this, including the Army Intel officer, she's a female. She's about 50 years old, maybe a little younger, 49 or something. She just said, they're all on their personnel file. Officially, it says they are stationed on foreign bases or on leave. extended leave or on stationed on foreign U.S. military bases outside the country, that they're deployed somewhere, but they're actually there at that hangar. Many of them may actually have their living quarters there as well, but I don't know. So she controls where the sound is projected. She controls that. She runs these AI scripts and also does text to speech. And she has RNM hooked up, feed hooked up to a CBI, and basically she monitors my thoughts. My thoughts appear, like, get displayed on her screen in text. They turned it down, but this is every time I turn this fan on to find relief, get some relief from the constant microwave heating of my brain through my head. She always projects voices through it now, in an attempt to deter me from keeping it on. Then I turn it off, and the heating gets pretty bad. Right now she's saying obscene things about my grandmother. She's been doing that a lot lately. And she's been saying a lot of racist things about me and my family. And at times she just repeats those things for hours at a time. Seriously. Listening to that much racism and obscene shit about your family members constantly throughout the day, and that's been going on for about a week and a half. Really bad. And these signal drones, they for each dedicated to my mom and I, are primarily guided by each one by one Air Force drone pilot and one Air Force programmer running the software. And they also, these signal drones also hit me and my mom with mind control frequencies, basically microwave frequencies directed at specific areas of your brain. They call it brain waving, at least she does. And that's done throughout the day heavily on me and my mom. They also heat my mom as well. It's been so bad lately, like our eyes have been bloodshot all the time because of the microwave radiation permeating our skulls, and our eyeballs, and it starts to my eyes dry out and start to sting all the time, every day. Also, they microwave the inside of my lungs, and sometimes it's really hard to get any oxygen. They heat it up really bad. Or if I'm breathing through my nose, they'll just heat my nose itself. And remote neural monitoring, brain mapping, that's done via these signal drones as well. So all three of those things get done by that. Also, hacking of electronic devices, that's done by the Air Force programmers, software engineers, whatever. they do a lot of hacking of electronic devices. All of my electronic devices have been hacked at some point, caused a malfunction, including this fan running right now. They mess with the circuitry. They do that too. So, yeah, this woman is Army Intel officer. She has a satellite uplink. Primarily, maybe one or two ways, yeah. With her superiors at Army Intelligence Command at Langley, Virginia. Those are the people who give her the orders. She's kept there 24/7 in that building. Maybe alone for the most part. She sleeps in the same room that she works at, computer. She also has an iPhone, maybe, because I can hear the her messing with the touchscreen. May or may not, I don't know. Maybe it's just the sound. Maybe she does have it. She has an iPhone there. She also is hit with directed energy, heating and brainwaving herself by these Air Force programmers. But she also may be using cocaine on base throughout the day, like heavily. Because I can hear it. I can hear the effects of it. Like, she'll just get she gets really high throughout the day on it. And, I can hear when she comes down, but she usually doesn't come down for very long. It keeps her up. Sometimes she stays up for a very long time doing this. And she just suddenly gets energy out of nowhere. Like, gets super, like, I can tell. One time she snorted. She, inhaled through her nose, and I could hear it was, like, totally congested. Super congested. And so this may be provided to her by someone in the State Department or CIA. I believe they deliver it to her periodically in trucks or vans and hide it amongst supplies for her to live there, toiletries, other stuff like that. And so they deliver it to her, and she does it every day, dude. Like, she wouldn't be able to operate under these conditions if she didn't have it. But it's crazy that she's allowed to do this on a military base. Yeah. That's text to speech right there. And these groups of 3 UAVs each, signal drones, they're about 4,000 feet or above, high altitude. They're less visible because they're higher up, and they move with us. they always try to hold position directly above us, so they're constantly moving. Constantly. They're smaller in area also than the other drones you see lower in the sky at about like 2,500 feet or so. Those are primarily kinetic drones, they call them, and they use they have the particle emitters. Those formations, triangular, can be really wide. But yeah, they just, with the voice of skull, they direct, okay, I just saw a charged particle hit this camera at the top of it. Charged electrons. That's what the kinetic UAVs do. They pull microwaves off cell phone towers, and they're the ones primarily involved with heating people. They also can hurt you and break things using charged particles. Just saw another one hit this camera, and one fly past it. So yeah, she's being racist again right now. Text-to-speech. That's actually the voice of an individual I know. I pointed it out to them online, social media. I sent them like a message, and within 1 or 2 days, they totally deactivated their Facebook.